Hello everyone, I am AnakinBlitz and welcome back to another World of Tanks Blitz video where we will be covering a very highly requested topic by my subs about how to know when to go left or right and choosing which way on the map to go in World of Tanks Blitz. Now, welcome to the first video in the Road to a Unicum series, which is intended on educating Blitz players and helping them to improve. I've been asked a number of times to make more guides and educational videos, however, I just haven't been making any, mainly because they just have seemed to get no views, and no one seemed to like them at all. However, with my subs really wanting me to do guides, I'll be back again with some more educational content. However, in this Road to a Unicum series, I will be keeping every episode very short so that they aren't boring and just get out all of the information needed quickly. Although it's called Road to Unicum, keep in mind that I'm a bot myself, and it doesn't mean that you will become a Unicum just by watching these videos, so keep that in mind. However, these are just some tips and things that will overall help improve your gameplay, at least I hope so. Now, each episode will cover a specific topic, which you viewers can request in the comments down below, but without further ado, let's just get straight into a Road to a Unicum episode 1. Now, to start off, I'm pretty sure we all have come across some sort of game where there's some player that says to go left or go right or something like that in the chat. Now, this is just a little embarrassing moment for you guys that you can see, but I accidentally typed right in the global chat, which isn't too fun because the enemy team was able to see that. That's just a little funny thing that you may notice, but, already starting off in this game, as you can see, the T-57 Heavy on our team is not exactly listening to me and not exactly following the team. As you can see, the entire team has listened to me to go right. Now, why am I saying to go right? And this is just, I read the line a bit, and this is something that, okay, so we're just gonna take a look, at the enemy's, lineup first, starting off with the heavies. Now, E100, Mouse, and a T-57. Aside from the T-57, it's got a pretty heavily armored lineup that, as you can see, on the enemy team. And what do we have on our team? Well, we have an IS-4, an AMX-50B, and a T-57 Heavy as our heavy tanks. And what that means is, overall, the enemy team is an overall heavier lineup, because although the IS-4 is a very heavily armored and strong armored tank, it also has some decent mobility. It's got the good turret armor, and it's able to actually work reasonably well in hilly terrain, although it doesn't have gun impression, of course. And you have a 50B and T-57 Heavy, which are very light heavies, more like mediums. And the enemy team is a lot more heavy, and what that means is tanks like an E100 and a Mouse aren't exactly going to be doing too well up here in the hills, where our 50B and our 57 will do much better up here, and the IS-4 can still do a decent job up here in the hills. And what that means is the enemy team is at a huge disadvantage with their super heavies up here in the hills, and if they decide to send their super heavies to the town because that's their strong point for their super heavies are going to be completely useless and out of the game and out of the battle if they do go down to the town and if all of our team goes up to the hill. Now, unfortunately for us, our T-57 Heavy did not pay attention at all and decided to go over to the city, which means that he is going to get absolutely wrecked by the two super heavies. Actually, not super heavies, one of the D100s up here, but the Mouse and the T-57 Heavy on the enemy team, and that's already one gun down from us. Now, most teams that would pay attention, they if this game was like a game where the 57 paid attention, what would have happened is he would have gone up to the hill as well, which means that we would have all basically been together as a team, and if the enemy team decided to go town, then their heavies would have been completely useless and out of the game. Now, this replay here is just another example about people not exactly listening, and another example of choosing left or right. Now, taking a look at the enemy lineup right here, we see two heavy tanks right away, and on our lineup we see one heavy tank. So right away, without even looking at what tanks they are, we can obviously say that both of our lineups are very light. We both have very light lineups on both of our teams. And now if we take a look, they have a VK100 and a T32. Now, aside from the VK100, the T32 we know has a strong turret and good gun impression, which means it can perform well in hilly terrain, and medium sides are usually typically hilly terrain, which means a T-32 would actually work out there. Now, what do we have on our team? Well, we have a T-32 as our only heavy tank. So, definitely our team should be sticking together to the right side, which is the medium side of the map, Black Goldville, and it's more than likely that the enemy team would also all be going to the medium side. However, our T-32 is not paying attention whatsoever, even when I'm telling him that he is alone, and he's going all the way off to his own. Now, that is something really important that I want you guys to know in this video, but I'm sure a lot of you guys know, but not everyone. But don't just say, hey, I'm a heavy tank, I'm gonna go to heavy side. Hey, I'm a medium tank, I'm gonna go to medium side. You really need to pay attention exactly to the lineups of the enemy team and also your own team. And also just follow your team. Even if you know that it's right to go to the medium side, for example, if your entire enemy, or if your entire team wants to go to the heavy side and you can't convince them, you can't go alone. You need to stick with your team, even if it's a terrible, terrible idea, because it's most important to just be with your team. Now, as you can see, we are actually going to be extremely lucky in this battle, because it turns out the two enemy heavy tanks are also not exactly paying attention to the lineups, and they have decided to also go to the city side of the map. And what that means is it is a 2-on-1 on the heavy side. Now, obviously our T-32 will die, but at least he won't be completely useless, because he's going to be distracting those two heavy tanks. Now, this is not exactly part of the topic in today's video, but if you just notice that there are less tanks on your side of the map, push. There's no reason not to push. As you can see, there are two enemy tanks, like, completely alone to our one tank, which means that we are at advantage here, right? We have 6 people to their 5 people, which means that we should definitely be pushing the medium side, which is exactly pretty much what we're doing. Kind of, I mean, we aren't exactly pushing too much as a team, but we're slowly taking out the damage. Nice fire on that Type 61. But as you can see, obviously our T-32 died because he wasn't exactly paying attention, but also the enemy heavies weren't exactly paying attention either, which is something that you can keep in mind next time you go out into the battlefield and you may come into a situation like this. Now, here we have a bit of a different example than a normal map, because Naval Frontier, although it's a typical map with a heavy side and a medium side, the heavy side, by the way, is the left side from our spawn, and the med side is the right side. But I said in the chat mid and right, and why exactly mid and right? Well, the reason why is, if you take a look here, just taking a look at the enemy lineup, you got a typical, just a normal lineup. As you can see, 3 heavy tanks, double Tiger 1s, and an Aerial 44. Now, what do we have on our side? Well, we have 2 heavy tanks. Tiger P, which is a very solid tier 7 heavy tank, but a Smasher, which is, yeah, I know, it is a quote-unquote heavy tank, but meh, it's got the armor, it's got the hit points, but it isn't exactly like an actual heavy tank when you think about it, and it's not exactly something that you would want to actually try to bounce shots with. It's more of like a support kind of, I mean, it can, like, it's kind of just a weird type of thing. Now, what we can say, even if the Smasher is like a full-on heavy, even if I'm not a Smasher, even if I'm, say, like a Tiger or whatever, you need to keep in mind that we are outnumbered on the heavy side, and what that means is the enemy heavies can easily overrun us. Now, now why am I not just telling the heavies to go all the way over to the right side? Well, we could do that too, but going over to the mid is actually a really nice place on this map, because you're able to get shots on people crossing, which is basically what I'm trying to do right now, as you can see. But this isn't a Naval Frontier guide in this video, but we can just say that our mediums are going to overrun their mediums, just by the looks of it, right? We've got 4 mediums and they've got 3 mediums, and it's the Tiger 1, the ARL 44. We already know that they're not going to the medium side, but even if they did, they would take a bit of a while. It's kind of like not like we really need to be there on the medium side to help out as heavy tanks. And we can kind of stay in this central area, because we're able to get shots out on people trying to go on the heavy side. We could almost kind of cover the heavy side and the mid side, but also stay completely safe, because if we went all the way over to the heavy side, of course we are isolated, and being isolated is the last thing that you ever want to do in the game, because you will have, yeah, it's just basically asking for death. And we aren't exactly isolated. I mean, we are technically kind of isolated, but you do need to keep in mind that we have team support reasonably close by, and we can easily get out of this situation, this little area. And yeah, I'm just kind of chilling here, trying to get some damage off of these heavies. But yeah, I can trust our mediums to clear their mediums, at least I hope, unless if they're really dumb. But yeah, that's basically just kind of what I have in this replay. And Now, to wrap this all up, I've pretty much covered almost everything that I wanted to cover in this video. Obviously, there's a lot more to this type of stuff, and if you want me to go more in depth in like map reading or lineup reading stuff, I could make a video on that, but I just, for these guys, I'm not going to make like long actual guides with like tons of examples and tons of like in-depth explaining, unless if like it's really highly requested. Road to Unicum is just going to be a very short videos, a series of very short videos that will just kind of introduce the topic, give some examples to it, but won't actually go fully into it. So hopefully you guys learned something in today's video though, and most importantly, hopefully you enjoyed it. And if you want to see more Road to Unicum guides, make sure to hit that subscribe button below to support my channel, help me motivate my channel and my making of videos a lot more, as well as like the video if you enjoyed it, share it with your friends, and if you have any topics that you want covered in another video, let me know in the comments down below. But that's all I have for you guys today. Hopefully you all enjoyed this video. I am AnakinBlitz. Oh, and by the way, I have 69 days left of my premium time, but yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.